Here we go again. It's the typical argument. Gen Z is lazy. Gen Z is lazy. After we graduated high school, we were promised the American dream, where if you work hard, you can easily get a good job. But guess what? There are no jobs in this economy. And the jobs that are available are very low paying. But anyway, let's see what she has to say about us Gen Z men.
It's a major problem. And, Speaker Johnson has been talking about those maybe deadbeat folks that are on Medicaid, and maybe some of those folks are the stay-at-home sons. We don't know. But I'll tell you this, leave it to Gen Z to rebrand laziness and social awkwardness as something cutesy, like a stay-at-home son. They did much the same thing with quiet quitting, where you can go to work and do less. And if you call it quiet quitting, it's somehow better. But Laura, I got to tell you, this is also a big problem when it comes to, I think, declining birth rates, people not getting married and having children. That's a big problem. They blame it on women. Well, look at what young women have to choose from. The pickings are slim. Yes, we might have a feminism problem in America, but it's the feminization of men. There are a lot of young women out there that want to get married. They want to have kids. They want to have stable families. But there are a lot of young men out there who want to live in mama's basement and order DoorDash. And therein lies a big part of the problem.
Yes, guys, always remember it's always the men's fault, never the women. Women are perfect, only men's fault. And let's be completely honest, Gen Z girls are not looking to settle down. They want to have a good time and party in their 20s, just like how you were doing. I also find it funny how she also brings up the declining birth rate when she is in her 30s now and she doesn't even have any children. So doesn't that make her part of the problem? Oh, wait, she's a woman. Women is never a woman's fault. If this was the 1950s, then I would completely agree with her, but it's not. Inflation is kicking everybody's ass. The average American cannot afford a home, and that is the truth. It's not just Gen Z, it's millennials, Gen Xers, even boomers are struggling. But hey, don't just take my word. Here's what Matt Walsh had to say.
A lot of men are trash, she said 5 years ago. Men are trash all over this country, was her exact quote. And that's the kind of statement that if I said that about women, I would be denounced by both sides as a radical misogynist and likely domestic abuser. It's the kind of statement that you cannot say about any broad demographic except men. I mean, imagine saying, women are trash all over the country, or gays are trash all over the country, or black people are trash all over the country. Those are unacceptable statements in polite society, but a lot of men are trash all across the country, is commentary so acceptable and normalized that we hear it even from pundits on the right. But let's go back to what Tomi said not 5 years ago, but 5 days ago on Laura Ingraham's show. Again, she said, quote, young women want families, too many young men want DoorDash and mama's basement. Now let's leave aside how insulting and dismissive this statement is. The much greater problem is that it's just simply inaccurate. In fact, polls have consistently shown for years now that young men are significantly more likely to desire family life than young women. There are more young men who want to start families than there are young women who want to start families. And these are not like the findings of Andrew Tate or the red pill YouTuber, but of research firms like the Pew Research Center. Okay? In other words, these are findings from organizations that are don't have an anti-feminist bias. Let's put it that way. And according to a recent Pew study, 57% of men between the ages of 18 and 34 want to be parents someday. For women in the same age bracket, the number is only 45%. So yes, less than half of young women want to be mothers, as opposed to nearly 60% of young men who want to be fathers. And this is not just Pew Research Center claiming this. Multiple polls over the past 2 decades and across the world have found that young men are more likely to want children than young women. There was even a poll done in Nigeria a couple of years ago that found the same kind of gender gap. So this is a very consistent finding, which means that there just isn't any evidence to support Tomi's claim. In fact, the data tells us that it's young women who, more often, would prefer DoorDash and mama's basement.
Just like that, he completely beat her with facts and logic, something that we know that they're immune to. She even had the audacity to respond to this on X, basically telling him that he's siding with us basement dwellers. Like, are you serious? He literally provided evidence and you're still just going to ignore everything? This is how they think. The truth is, we want a family. We want a big family. I want to buy acres of land and grow my own food, have my own animals. That is the life that I want. And it's very difficult to find someone like that. Not because of some social awkwardness. It's because girls want to have fun. Young girls want to have fun. That is the problem. They're not looking to settle down. I just find her reasoning to be very annoying. She sits there and just has the audacity to say that all men are bad just because of her and her friends' experiences. She even goes on this whole rant about how she basically messed around with a lot of guys from different parts of the United States, literally just getting passed around, and for some reason all guys are just bad. Maybe it's just the guys that you choose.
Inspire people to be better. So with that being said, this is a PSA for all the men out there and all the boys who think they're men, but they're actually boys. This is going to be the summer of canceling boys. Now, from my own personal experiences and the experiences of all of my friends, which range in age from 24 to 36, we've all got issues. Now, I will also say this. All of my friends are attractive. All of my friends are successful. All of my friends have something going on. Almost every single one of them have an issue with men. And you have to start looking at that and thinking, if an age range of that many people, including myself, living really all over the country and being blonde, brunette, short hair, long hair, tan, super white, super pale, these women range in every body type and everything. They're all successful, they're all intelligent, they're all good people. But if all of these women, including myself, are having issues, then I have to think, it might not be us. It might be you. It might be men. It might be men. Now, I've often talked about the pussification of America and how men are no longer men. I talk to my mom about this a lot, and she says, well, maybe it's just the guys in Texas. Maybe it's just the guys in Los Angeles.
I like how she first starts off by saying she wants to inspire people, and she is definitely inspiring me by making me want to stay away from women like her. And I'm pretty sure you guys know who Myron Gaines is from Fresh and Fit. He even exposed her for being at 304.
The pickings are slim as a direct cause from feminism.
Problem in America, but it's the feminization of men. There are a lot of young women out there that want to get married. They want to have kids. They want to have stable families, but there are a lot of...
They want to get married, but they don't want to be wives, and that is the fucking problem.
of young men out there who want to live in mama's basement and order DoorDash. And therein lies a big part of the problem.
All right, so just so you guys know, one of my buddies who's a SEAL actually had sex with this girl a couple years back, but that's a whole other conversation. So she's not as godly as she claims. She has a 304. Now, what I will say is this, right? Because there's been, and this actually occurred while I was out in the street as well, right? This Christian apologist came out.
So this notion that they all want to be wives is just completely BS. And that's going to do it for me. Catch you guys in the next one.